So without further ado, we'll be starting alphabetically with Cheeky. Is that good? Yeah. All right.
Okay, so hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Gabriel Cheeky and I want to be the next president of the DeGroote Commerce Society. So before I decided to run for this position, I went around the school and talked to all different people and asked them what influences you, what do you want changed, and what do you like right now. And three main things stood out. It was basically your school, like McMaster University, your experience at university as an undergraduate student, and of course your DeGroote, the name, the brand. So I want to start off with your school. So McMaster does not really know exactly what DeGroote stands for, what events and conferences that DeGroote offers us. We do all these things like what just happened, Macworld Congress, and I really don't think that the other students of McMaster knew what was going on. Sure, they saw us walking around in suits, but they didn't know, oh, Macworld Congress, that's something I might be interested in. We had a ton of great speakers come out, and I think that all the other students might want to show up too. So to promote this better, I suggest that we could go through the Silhouette, go through MSU services, go through the Silhouette, publish stuff there, as well as use the online calendar, because there's a new addition to the website, I guess, and anyone could go in there, type in an event, and it could be broadcasted throughout the MSU website. Also, there is a president's meeting, which all the faculty's presidents meet, and at that meeting, I suggest that all the clubs and all the committees have their events ready for the president, so when the president goes to those meetings, they could reveal them to the other presidents, so they could go to their constituents and release them through their lines of communication. Next, I'd like to go through your experience. So there's a ton of opportunities here at DeGroote, especially a new initiative, JDCC. So that was new this year. That was national competition. It was our first year there, and I think that having these competitions and opportunities available for our students, that would be the best thing. And as for the brand of DeGroote, I believe that the DeGroote School of Business is the best in Ontario. Some people say, oh yeah, it's one of the best. I want it to be the best. I want it to be #1. And I believe that we're pretty much there, but nobody really knows about that. So we need to advertise our events after they're done. Show the success of World Congress, show the success of all the different events through all the different clubs and services, and do that through local advertising like Hamilton Spectator, even National Post, go all over Canada, and even maybe do some televised events as well. We could call a news crew and get them in. It's not that hard, and I think if we do that, we'll be recognized and go to the next level. So in conclusion, I'm ready for your questions and can't wait.
And next we will have John.
Alright, hey guys, my name is John Lang and I'm running for DeGroote Commerce Society President for next year, 2013-2014. So I would just want to start off with a quote, and the quote is from Robert Kiyosaki, and it's, "Your future is what you do today, not tomorrow." So a year as DCS President, it's not a long time, and I want to show you what I can do in that year to make your experience a better experience here at DeGroote. So as you know, DeGroote is one of the top schools in Ontario, just like Gabe said. And I want us to be able to prove that. And proving that, I want to go through 3 different pillars: transparency, reliability, and connectivity. So first one, transparency. I want to be able to tell you what's going on. Now a lot of people don't know specifically what goes on, or maybe they don't know what happens on the inside. Because a lot of the things that DCS does, it includes things that are intangible. Sometimes you don't know what happened, but they're actually working behind the scenes and streamlining things and processes so that it will make your experience better. And I want you to know that. And it'll also give you the chance to give us feedback, to tell us, hey, maybe you should go in this direction because that's something I'm interested in. And I think that's a great opportunity for you, because this isn't just about what we want to do, it's about what you want to do. Now, included in transparency, I want to be include it in like website documents, telling you what we have. We're not just a society, we also have bylaws, like the election bylaw that we ran by and used to run this election and to campaign. Things like press releases, also something Gabe talked about, being able to get us out there and tell people what we're made of. We're from DeGroote, we're from McMaster. Now, moving on to reliability. So, reliability. I want to be able to continue what we've started. And one of those things is renovating the DCS Lounge, or the Commerce Lounge. With the Commerce Lounge, plans were made out last year, and I want to be able to see it renovated. Right now, we're short on plugs, sometimes a little disorganized in there, and I think that we can make it a better place for you guys, especially because so many of us hang out in there, we do work in there, we have meetings in there, and it's got to look good. And when people come by, we can say, hey, this is my lounge. Something else I want to add on to that renovations is maybe touching up our little swipe key thing. When we swipe in, a lot of people are like, I can't swipe in, I use my student card all the time. And maybe we can use that, some of the funds that are set up from KPMG to do something about that. Make it better. Maybe use one of those swipe keys that isn't a physical stripe on the card and just a scanner. And we can get into the DCS Lounge easier. Another thing was applying the second year commission, something that was also done from the year before. It's something that is used to get the second years involved. Right now we have the first year commission to make the first years come out for some events, have their own events, and get to know people within their own year. But the second year commission would also be, in that effect, pretty similar. We would get people out from the second years and engage them in DCS, because first year we have one course, we have one EO3, and it's really hard to get out there and you don't really know what commerce is all about. Second year, you're like, whoa, hey, that's everything about commerce and I don't know what to do with it. And this is a way to get them out. Now, finally, connectivity. So, two things I want to go after for connectivity. Or three things, sorry. One of them is corporate social responsibility. Something like using DeGroote Impact and getting our name out there. Being a commerce student is also about being well-rounded and getting out there, getting into the community, doing other volunteer activities. And something that's also really good with connecting within Hamilton is something called Hamilton Hive. It's a young entrepreneurship group done out of the city of Hamilton. And the second point was external relations. I believe external relations is really important, as well as internal relations. Making a separate position, because it is that important to get our name out there, to tell people we're from DeGroote, and to tell ourselves and within McMaster that this is DeGroote, we're the commies of McMaster, and we know how to do it. And finally, it's connecting within ourselves as the Commerce Society. I know that a lot of people are like, oh, well, there's this group and this group. And sometimes people want to know what events are going on. I want everyone to know, okay, well, there's the DMA mixer, there's the DFA mixer. Everyone needs to know about these events and the opportunities they have to get out there and learn about it, especially for our younger years, first and second year. So that's basically the premise of my platform. It's been a good run so far, and I'm also looking forward to your questions. Thank you.
Now we have Conrad.
Thank you. Hi guys, a lot of you may know me, some of you probably don't, but my name is Conrad Thompson, and as I'm sure you're all aware, I'm running for president for next year. I wanted to take this time to quickly talk to you about who I am and what I would like to do as president for next year. Luckily enough, last year I was able to get involved with the DCS, and I became a green suit for Welcome Week representing. And I did that for 2 years, as well as these guys. Both of you did 2 years, right? And this year I was able to become a third-year rep on the DCS. And it was here that I learned a lot about how the DCS operates, where we stand now, and where I think we need to be moving forward. As a broad idea, I would really like to make DeGroote a more inclusive culture. I talk to a lot of students, and maybe some of you can relate to this, but sometimes you don't really know who your peers are. Some people in first year don't really have a clue of what commerce is, and I think these guys touched upon that too. And then you get to second year and it's like, okay, this is what commerce is. So to start changing that culture, it wouldn't be something that you could do overnight or even in a year or two, but I'd like to really get the ball rolling with that and make a plan to make the culture a bit more friendly and a bit more community-oriented. I have an idea for a mentorship program that I'd love to go into detail with you guys about. Maybe you can ask me a question. I'm just going to keep it brief right now. But that would be able to allow first years to connect with second years, and second years to connect with third years, and third years to connect with fourth years. And you'd have this kind of a 4-year connection, and you'd meet peers that are upper years, so you'd be able to get an inside scoop on what's to expect in the upcoming year, maybe learn about fields of interest. If you're in first year, maybe you can hear about marketing or finance, but you don't really get the chance to take those courses in first year. I'd also like to improve our external involvement. This year we did a good job of getting involved in a few more competitions and conferences than we had in years past. Like Gabe was talking about, we took place in JDCC, and that was the first year we did it, and we actually came out with winning the HR area. So like that's a huge accomplishment, and people don't really seem to recognize that DeGroote is a leading business school outside employers and other business students. So what I would like is to really emphasize that and just get our name out there, because we have the talent to do well. It's just that we're not taking advantage of all the opportunities that we can. And that goes with conferences too, and other opportunities as far as summer jobs and clubs. I just like to really make sure that the students are aware. I'd like to take advantage of a couple of mediums of communication that we don't presently. We have a great website that was revamped last year, and I would kind of like to make this a central hub, so to speak, with having all the clubs put their own events on there, a nice timeline of what you can expect as a student, so everybody's made equally aware, and there's lots of opportunities out there. And then lastly, and most importantly, I just really want every student here to have the best experience they can. And I think that two-way communication is crucial for this. I'd like the DCS to open up more ways to get feedback from students and to hear the input and how they can shape their experience. So I'm also looking forward to any questions, and look forward to the rest of our hour. So thank you.
All right, now I'd like to open it up to the floor. If anybody has any questions, ask that, or I could start it off. Okay, so if there was one thing you could change about DCS for the upcoming year, what would it be and why? Just one thing, your most important thing, so we can recap it. Let's start with John Lang.
The biggest thing, that one's a hard one. I'm not sure what, like, it's not that the DCS needs to be changed. I think the way it's been streamlined right now, especially from the last couple of years, they did streamline DCS to make it more efficient. I think the way it is right now is really good. The one thing, I guess, that's on my mind would be external and internal relations. I really like the fact that we have a position for communications, but I do believe that external and internal relations are that important that they should be two separate roles. Because being an ambassador for, say, Focus 2040 this year, I realized it's a lot of work, especially if you're doing a lot of schoolwork. It's hard. You have to go out there, you have to connect with people, you have to tell people, oh, well, there's this event going on and I want you to be a part of it. Or you have to research all these different things, especially for externals, being like, we want to get involved in more competitions or conferences. Well, where are the competitions? What are the competitions about? And how do we tell everyone internally? And for internal, it's about getting people to know, well, there's this and this event, this is a DeGroote event, and you should come out for it because you're in commerce or you're interested in commerce. So that's probably the one thing that's really pressing for me.
Well, Conrad?
Okay. Like I mentioned before, the mentorship program, I really think that that is a great way to change the culture here at DeGroote, slowly but surely. Students will be able to hear more about the opportunities available to them, know how to get involved in areas of interest, and make connections to not only peers in their own grade, but expand their network to upper years. And I think that it would create a more friendly atmosphere here at DeGroote and just enhance everybody's student experience. Thank you.
Okay, and the one thing, I have to agree with John Lang saying that the Commerce Society has been operating quite well over the years, and just the one thing I guess to improve on would be, as I said earlier, the promotion of events. As a member of the Commerce Caucus on the SRA, Student Representative Assembly, I've come to know that the MSU is a great organization that has a ton of services available to us, and our society has not really utilized those services to the extent that they should be. For example, there is a advertising club like under the MSU. It's called PAC, and we could use them for different things like putting out posters, designing things, and other things like that, as well as I said earlier, the calendar widget. That was the word I was looking for earlier. Sorry about that. The widget, because that correlates with the whole MSU website. So whatever page you're on, it has a calendar on the side of the page. So if your event's on that day, it'll be there. Every page that whoever's searching on, like whether you're looking at minutes of a meeting or you're looking at job opportunities through the MSU, your event is there, and that'll help us get interest from the other students and let them become aware of what DeGroote is doing and sharing the love through that. Yeah.
Yep.
What do you guys plan on doing for the DeGroote clubs?
Sorry, to be a bit more specific, like what do you mean by the DeGroote clubs?
Like you guys are talking about getting students more involved, like do you want them to get more involved with clubs or just the competitions? Like how are you going to help the clubs grow and like develop?
Can I just build off that question? I just wanted to add to Nathan's point. I just want to ask, like, getting at what Nathan's saying, how will you build DeGroote up? How will you make our societies and our clubs more effective, more known? Just build DeGroote so that when we get into industry, whether it be marketing, accounting, or finance, which is severely lacking in terms of downtown Toronto industry, recognizing DeGroote, how will you make DeGroote that well known? How will you make the clubs and streamline the commerce students into these clubs and make them realize that this is the gateway into success? Like, it's not just going to class. Like, you got to realize that these clubs are your future. This is what you want to, if you want to get into this industry, this is what you got to do. How are you going to build that up for students, and how are you going to make the group really well known on any street?
And we'll start with Conrad.
Okay. So, I'm just trying to take all of that in. That was quite the long question from both of you. So, to address the first part of that question, this year and in years past, recently we've had something called Clubs Fest. It's for the first year students, and I think that that's a great way to make clubs aware and make them known to the students who are interested in those specific areas of interest. As far as making the clubs well known and the DeGroote brand in areas of Toronto or downtown sectors, I would agree with these guys. External competitions and conferences are huge. Right now we don't have as much of a presence as we need. So I would like to continue with how we're going in that direction. Keep building awareness with outside competitors, because you meet potential employers and industry professionals at events like that. So that would be a great way to get the DeGroote name out there, and especially if we keep winning those events or keep having better results there. And as far as getting students involved in those clubs more, if we were able to implement the DCS webpage or other things, like we launched a magazine this year, so communication and means like that would be great. We could kind of collaborate on the DCS webpage, and everyone would be able to easily note what events were coming up. You guys could have easier access to students and just make sure that they're aware, and then you'd be able to bring them in from there. Thanks.
Now, run the order. Yeah, Gabe. I think it's probably
Okay, so to address the first question about what are we doing for the clubs, how are we going to get more involvement through that, I'd like to echo what Conrad has said about the DCS website, utilizing that, as well as said earlier, the MSU website. But if we use something on the DCS website for the quarterly profit, I think that if every club has responsibility to input information for the different avenues of communication, then I believe that everything will get put out successfully. The thing is that right now that's not happening. There's no specified person on each of the clubs to be sending information our way, to be publishing it on those different things, because you guys aren't doing it yourselves. So I think if we get together and through teamwork like that, it'll all come about. And as for expanding the group brand, again, having conferences and networking with, the speakers that come and talk to
as well. But I do think that it's very important in commerce particularly, because as a first-year student, right now you don't really have many first-year courses that are commerce specific. So I think that building a better relationship in that Frosh Week, maybe exposing them to a bit more of what they should expect in years to come, couldn't hurt at all.
Yep. Stuart.
As the DCS incoming president, how would your relations with the student societies change in the coming year? What would you recommend that would be different, that would say promote any of the platforms that you have already talked about, or just something you'd recommend as a change?
Just to be clear, the other faculty societies or the clubs?
The clubs.
The clubs. All right, and I believe we have John.
Back to me. Yeah. Okay. So sorry, can you go over that again? You're like saying the relations between the clubs like DeGroot, DMA, DA, like how we're gonna work on our relations with them?
How would your role change, or how would you change your way of interacting? How would you plan to interact?
Okay, so one of the things that I had previously said was something about internal, having two separate positions for internal and external relations, because I think that's so important, especially as a society. And so part of that would be the internal relations. They would have someone be dedicated to the internal relations, and that would fall under their responsibility, because then they wouldn't have to be concerned about other responsibilities, and they would be able to focus on the needs of the other clubs and associations, especially because our clubs and associations have been growing. Like we have a consulting club now. We didn't have that last year. So I think that's really important to have that person there and to make sure we're communicating maybe electronically, keeping ourselves up to date so we can update things like the calendar and say, this event's happening, even if it's a last minute, oh hey, like we forgot to tell you, well we can help you by putting it on the calendar on the website, telling people about that event.
Thank you.
Next we have Conrad.
Okay, so I'm not really sure how you guys are meeting now with the DCS. Like, do you meet, is it like a monthly basis, or how do you guys communicate now with each other? Because it's hard to tell how we would change if we don't really know what it is
I
now.
get your point. I just wondered if, based on your experiences, you would change. That's what it's whole from.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that to have meetings maybe on a monthly basis with all the groups together, all the clubs, you'd be able to kind of fill each other in on what you have coming up in that month, and that goes again to building up the clubs within the students here already. The leaders of those clubs will be able to advocate for other clubs within the group, and there could also be something done. I don't know if you have something like a electronic message board, or like even a Google Docs file or something where everyone could put their own input there just to keep each other in the know, and also for the DCS, we'll be able to promote events better that way and make sure that students are aware. So I would just say increased communications and easier accessibility to do that.
And I like to begin by saying like the group clubs are doing a phenomenal job providing events for the students. And when there's so many events going on, it's hard to organize these things in a proper way. So by combining both of these phenomenal ideas, having an internal commissioner, let's say, meet with all of the executives, or like the top executives of all the clubs at a monthly meeting, and go over their monthly plan and their future plans as well. So everybody has like a calendar ready. Everyone sees what everyone else is doing. Oh, they're doing an event, it might be this week. We'll contact them so we don't do it on the same day. Stuff like that, just to promote things better that way. And in regards to dealing with the clubs, sorry, can you say your question one more time?
Yeah, based on what you've experienced, would you change any ways that DCS would interact? Would you modify any relationships? Would you help to improve any pre-existing plans and strategies?
Okay, so to go back to the meetings, we'd first have to have like a general meeting at the end of this year. So hopefully all the exec is elected from all the different clubs and committees, and we all get together and have like a big meeting, and that's when we lay down our full year plan right there. And if it's not prepared by then, we just put like aspirations, whatever we feel like might happen, like annual events, stuff like that. And I think by having that initial meeting, things will go on, and those monthly meetings, as I said before, those will reflect proper organization.
Okay, something I forgot to mention. Something from previous years that has happened is that the presidents of the clubs do meet with the president of DCS. So it used to be like a monthly meeting with the presidents. It's something that was sort of a bit of an informal thing, so I don't know if it was carried through, but that's something I would like to continue, especially because it lets people know this is happening and you get to interact with the different clubs. So that would be, if I were elected, that'd be one of the roles, whether it was monthly or bi-monthly, based on people's schedules. So.
Great. Let's go in the back.
How would you plan on engaging like the new coming first years? Because I know a lot of them don't really affiliate themselves with the business school until like second year, and I know I didn't even have a class until like second or third year in the business school. How would you plan on engaging them and instilling that sense of pride for the commerce program in first years?
I believe we're going to start with Conrad.
Okay. I hate to keep going back to this point, but it seems to answer a lot of questions. I think that the mentorship program that I alluded to before would be great for that. Like I was saying, a first year would be paired up with a second year, and that second year would now have this connection with the first year, but also with the third year, and the third year would have the second year and fourth year. So at the same time, you can be giving advice to somebody as well as expecting to, or not expecting, but kind of being shown the ropes about what to expect in the year coming. So
Is that like a forced partnership? Like you have to pair?
no. It would be a voluntary sign up, and but yeah, that would be able to allow the students to identify with the commerce faculty. They have a better idea of what's going on, opportunities that are available to them, because especially in first year, like you said, there aren't really many commerce courses, and you're not really in the DeGroup building so much, so you're not made aware of the DeGroup brand. You don't see the posters that are up unless you go to the DeGroup Lounge or Innis. But as a first year, you're in this new environment, you're a bit shy. I know I wasn't coming around, and that's something that I really want to change. So I think the mentorship program would be great, and also increased communication through the website. We have that magazine that came out this year, Quarterly Profit, so that would be another great method. Just making sure that students are aware is really what it comes down to.
Okay, so I just want to take you all back to when you received your letter of confirmation, your letter of acceptance to the group. Right there at that moment, you know that you're going to go to the group, you're accepting right away. So from that letter, I want to have something that has like instructions, has tools that the first years can use before they even come to the school. Because this is going to be in, let's say, from January to enrollment or till September, right? And so they have the whole summer, because early acceptance usually around February to March. So the whole summer is available for students to go about and discover the group in their own way. And a lot of things, it all starts off with Facebook usually. There's a group that all the graduated, or the group graduating 2014, whatever. So everybody's included in that. And that's where they meet a whole bunch of people through there, but a lot of people are shy that way. So I just want to say that in the letter of acceptance, they should have the website there, and like I said before, we'll be updating the website. The app, because we do have an app, and we need to utilize that better because everybody's on their smartphone, everybody's using technology these days. And also, when it comes to Welcome Week, we could utilize the green suits. As John Lang said earlier, we want to make green suits a full year thing. So during Welcome Week, that's huge. That's a big shebang right there. And then later on throughout the year, it's a little bit less stressful, but we need to have that presence of green suits there. Because when the first years are, oh, I don't know what's going on. Oh, wait, I remember that guy or that girl. She's awesome. So they go up to them, oh, what's going on? Yeah, we're going to have an event later this week. Are you going to come out? Yeah, maybe. Are you going to be there? Yeah, sure. So stuff like that, just having those resources to use, I think that first years will be in the know. And of course, first year council, if we utilize that a little bit more promptly, then see where it takes us.
Alright, just a sec.
Do I sound like an old man? Wrestler?
Try it.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, as Gabe said, using the first year council. So the first year commission is there, and as well as adding their own events as well, they can use that commission to get students out towards different events, especially because we have so many events, and they can become aware because they're already there. They're technically part of the DCS, and we can inform them. And part of their job is engaging the first years already, so we can use that. And maybe, if it's a possibility, they can work with some of the other clubs or associations. Maybe they can work with the marketing association. They can get some tips. This is what we should do. We don't know where to go, so maybe they should do some more social networking. They should add in some Facebook or Twitter time for them to get people out to their events and to other events. And carrying on as well, the green suits as a full year initiative. One of the things I was sort of thinking about was maybe also engaging them before Frosh Week comes. Maybe letting them know a personal, hey, if you have any questions, I'm here, I'm from the group, and I've been here, I'm in my second or third year or fourth year, and I can tell you a bit more about the program, or I can tell you that there's these opportunities for you, and that it was great that you accepted the DeGroote School of Business as your school of choice. So I think that's a really great point from there, and to continue it on, maybe later on have an event and be like, oh hey guys, it's us again, we saw you in Frosh Week, maybe you remember us, hopefully you remember us, we made an impact on you, and you should come out to this event, whether maybe it's Commerce Formal, or maybe it's just a general meeting just to get them to know a little bit more about another club. So that's the way I would approach it.
Okay, let's see. We're gonna take a ex-celebrity question from Sam Bond. So, what do you think? This has been talked about a bit already, but we'll ask it anyway. What do you think is the biggest issue right now with the DCS, and how would you go about solving it? And we will start. Do you guys know?
Me.
Yeah, you.
I'd like to reflect this back on that last question, because I think that a lot of interest is lost during first year, because that's when we need to grab the students' attention and convert them right there. It's like you're no longer a general student. Now you're in commerce. We need to grab them right out of the door. And I like the idea that John Lang said to have an event before school. So maybe having something like a preschool barbecue. Not like little toddlers running around, but just before the school year starts, we have an event, and it's just like a DCS cookout. We have barbecues out, we have the green suits going, we have some professors there to answer any questions that the students may have, and that would be a great networking event right there. And that's what I think. I think we need to grab the students right out of the gate. So, John, take it away.
One of the biggest issues also I think is engagement, whether it is from first to fourth year. And building off of that, for the first years, it is a great opportunity for them, especially for us to engage them with green suits, engage them with the peer, well, sorry, it's not the peer support group, it is the business buddies as of right now, and allowing them to get to know what opportunities there are here. And going on forward, using that engagement from the upper years, because no matter what happens, the school is going up, and I believe we are a top tier school. From there, like maybe you graduate, maybe it's not going to affect you right now, but maybe down the road someone's going to be like, you're from DeGroote. That school is a great school, and it's not just about the program, it's about the people. And that is why I think it's so important that we have more engagement.
Right, Conrad?
So if I could change one thing about DCS, or one thing to improve upon, I would really like to work on our brand image. And like these guys were really talking about getting engagement going on, more levels of engagement. And that would be something I definitely agree with, to build the DeGroote brand. So more external competitions, more conferences, getting students involved and letting them know about the opportunities. And both of them had mentioned this, that first year is a critical time for these students because they're coming in, they're now part of the commerce faculty, but they're not really involved with the commerce faculty. So get them when they first come, make them feel involved, make them feel like they're part of the school, give them reason to take pride in being a DeGroote student. And then from there, that will carry on for years forward. The involvement will continue, and we'll get into this process where people will just know to get involved or be excited to get involved because that's what they've heard about. So it's not something that you could change in a year, but it's definitely would be a step in the right direction, and maybe in years to come, we'll have that DeGroote brand image where competitors recognize us and are aware of us, and as well as outside employers. So, yeah, thank you.
Alright, awesome. Someone, Nathan?
So it seems like all three of you kind of have similar platforms, but like why should I vote for you as opposed to like the two other candidates?
And we will start with John.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. All right, so why you should vote for me? Because, well, how do I put this? I don't want to try and sound egotistical here. So, to vote for me, it's to vote for a more roundabout DCS because I believe that we are a top tier school. I have the determination to build us to work in that direction. As I started with my quote, it's what you do today, not tomorrow. And I want to bring that mindset into that position as DCS president.
Posters are up. I'd like to say thank you to Jimmy Long for helping me out with mine. And have a great night, everyone.
Alright, so I also want to say thanks to you guys for staying here. Thanks to the people who are watching or will watch this and maybe hear funny voices from our audio. But it's been a great question and answer. You guys asked good questions. I hope you guys heard what you wanted to hear, asked what you wanted to ask. If you want to ask anything more, we all have our Facebook pages. You can always contact us. We'll be around for the next few days before elections. And I just wanted to, I guess, go over what my platform was. It was transparency, reliability, and connectivity. And I think under these 3 pillars, we can bring DCS to that position to represent what we are, a top-tier school in Ontario. And that we can be that society where commerce students know each other and they're a well-rounded student. So thanks again, and good night.
I just wanted to start by thanking everyone who's made it possible for me to be here today. I've had some help from Taylor, I've had some help from Sean McTeague with posters, so that was great. And I want to thank my mom, if you're watching. And yeah, I just wanted to say that this was a great experience. And from the 3 of us, I think that it's fair to say that you're going to end up with a good president regardless. So really, just take the time, look to see what suits you best for what aligns with you and the presidents, potential presidents. And thanks for being here, thanks for listening, and that's about it. I wanted to leave on a little bit of a joke that a friend gave me, and I told him I'd say it. And so I don't want my appearance to fool you. I have a soul, and I care about this faculty. So thank you. Sorry, sir.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Dun, 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 dun.